Hello again. My name's Sam,
I'm Logan.
and this is the Insert Slogan Here podcast, episode number 12. Before we jump into this week's intense high octane gameplay, which is our agenda, I just want to give you a quick overview that we're going to be talking very vulgar topics and controversial conversations. And we haven't been getting many innuendos in lately. Last week was kind
No.
of good. Not really,
Yeah.
but so.
We'll figure it out. Don't worry. The innuendos will return. So if that
um,
triggers you.
if you are easily offended, just do not continue watching. But for those that do not mind being offended or are open to being challenged and having your views possibly shit on, this is the show for you. I have the slogan of the week, and I decided to go with love someone today because there's a lot of hate going on right now. And even if it's a random stranger, your best friend or your mom, send them a text, give them a call, and let them know that you care and that you love them, because I know that definitely makes people's days. I mean, how if you just smile at somebody or you say, "Hey, how's it going? I hope you're having a good day," to some random stranger on the street, they'll probably give you a look like, "I don't know you, but I appreciate the compliment," and then walk away hurriedly because you might be some stalker. But at least you made an impact on their life. So, yeah. Logan, what was your most embarrassing moment as a kid?
This took a lot shorter amount of time than I thought it was going to. So when we were in I think it was seventh grade, there was a science project that we had to do where you had to measure different signs that spring was upon us. So, for example, the first time you saw a squirrel outside, the first time you saw birds flying around, the first time you saw a certain kind of plant, you know, signs of spring. So, I was I procrastinated a lot, which would be how I say that. Procrastinated a lot growing up, so I didn't do it. And there were checkpoints along the way where you had to have 15, 20 events, and you had to have signs that it actually occurred or like some form of evidence.
Mm-hmm.
So the night before, I scraped together as much as I could, but I could only get like 10. So the next day, I copied a couple off of one of my friends, and I got caught, and I got shredded, and I deserved it completely. I got like a C minus on the project, and uh, yeah, it was incredibly embarrassing because I wasn't like that growing up. I usually wouldn't cheat.
Yeah.
I was very ashamed of myself. And the worst part was I had to get a signed note from one of my parents that they understood that I explained the situation to them. And that was horrible because I had to admit it to my mom, and I hate disappointing my parents. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, that was the most ashamed I was of myself as a kid. So
Oh
that was a
man.
fun one. But how
Oof.
about yourself, buddy?
Well, now that you bring up cheating, I have two. One was when you and I were in sixth grade,
Okay.
and I don't think we did. I don't know, remember if we had the same homeroom, but we had this test on personification, and I
Okay.
could not remember what personification was. And we basically just had to write an essay. For those that don't know what personification is, it's basically giving an inanimate object human characteristics. So my phone is walking down the street or laughs appropriately or something like that, you know?
Hmm.
And I could not for the life of me remember what personification meant. So in the middle of this essay test, I like look over at the person sitting next to me, and I'm like, "Hey, what's what's personification mean?" And he of course tells me what it is. I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then I look up at like the teacher, and he's just straight up looking at me, like staring at me, and I just smile because I know I got caught and there was nothing really I could do. And I feel really bad for the guy next to me because I was like, he got in trouble, but like, I don't know. So that was super embarrassing. Got detention or whatever for a week. That was fun. But another moment was when we were at a water park for a class trip, and I was putting my stuff in this locker, this community locker, and then you lock it, of course, or whatever. But the floor is slippery, and I don't have any flip flops
Right.
on. Okay, and
Naturally.
I slip and fall straight on my ass. So it hurt. It hurt. And then this kid who's probably like the same age, he just blurts out laughing. And at that
I
point, I was
remember
like,
that.
I was so self conscious, and I was like, what are you laughing at? And then like he didn't really realize that I'd noticed that he was laughing at me, and he's like, oh, and he just continued to laugh and then walked away. That was probably that was the most embarrassing moment as a kid. I'm sure there are a lot more, to be honest,
Yeah,
because
there's a ton more. I'm thinking of more as you say things. I just don't want to. I don't want to go down that
hey,
path yet.
we only had to do one, and I went over with two.
Yeah, there you
Um,
go.
so this has been an interesting week in the news.
Yeah.
First of all, with our Maximum Tilt saying we're going to be talking about the Donald Trump Jerusalem statement that he made, and
Mhm.
now the Israeli and Pakistani conflict is
Mhm.
possibly going to get worse after this. Logan, what are your thoughts on it?
Hard to say how it could get worse, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
It's not like the relationship's been peachy keen the whole time and we're just now introducing this whole new thing into the mix. No, it's been pretty shitty the whole time for Jews in the Middle East
yeah,
because they
yeah,
just
yeah.
get shit on all the time. Uh there have been multiple attacks on Jewish people, including I believe there was one in 2001 around then when a pizza parlor was bombed because they were Jewish, and
Holy
then it got
shit!
destroyed. There's been countless attacks against Jewish people over in Israel,
Oh yeah,
Pakistan area, or
yeah,
Palestine area. Um, but so I don't think it's really going to get. It might get more intense in the next couple of days here, but to say that it was fine before is kind of ridiculous looking at the history of it. I would urge you to look at Ben Shapiro's, because he's Jewish and he was there at the time of the pizza parlor uh, destruction, I guess. He recounts in one of his most recent podcasts, he recounts the history of Jerusalem and kind of shows the different periods of time when people own certain sections of the city and things
yeah,
of
yeah,
that nature.
yeah.
It opened my eyes to a little bit of the relationship there. And to be honest, I don't mind that Donald Trump did this. I think it's incredibly politically brave because
Oh
the
yeah,
bill that created this, there was a bill actually that went through Senate and the House, and it passed by overwhelming majorities that you know Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. But then the president would never sign off on it until now. It hasn't
yeah,
been signed off on. It's been in since I believe George H.W.
yeah.
So it's a pretty old bill,
Oh yeah.
and a bunch of people have not signed off on it, and it's just now somebody actually is, and I think it's pretty cool.
Do you think he started talking about it more because he missed signing the waiver? Because he's been signing the waiver like every other president, and he missed signing it. Do you think that was intentional?
Yes, he actually campaigned about this. It was
Correct.
part of his campaign,
Yeah.
so I think that it was completely intentional that he did not sign the waiver because I think his intention was to move the
So
embassy
then, but
to Israel.
He signed it in the past too, like when he was president. So like,
Sure,
so
but
then maybe he didn't sign it. And this, I'm just nitpicking, but like, I like to get into the mind of that certain shit. Like maybe he was like, you know what? Now is not the right time to talk about this and like move it. And now is a good
and
time to
now it
talk
might be a
about
better
it.
time.
I
Yeah, it
don't.
might be better now. I don't know what the political climate was before, like what would have improved in order to cause it to get to this point.
Yeah.
But I think he just kind of realized that maybe just the time is now and time to stop, just talking about it and actually doing something about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
That's true.
I'm okay with it. But it's just interesting to me to see all of these different country leaders who are coming out now and saying that that's going to open the gates of hell and things of that, and
Yeah.
including like Pakistan, who's like saying that it's going to get violent now, and it's like, oh, Pakistan, you've been just a bastion of peace in the Middle East for years, so I'm excited to see what danger looks like to you. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of things come to the light in spite of
It's
this, but
yeah.
it's
I would agree that it's probably a very bold move to go ahead and just announce it because everyone's been pretty, tiptoeing around it, trying to
mhm,
be all political, which I can understand why because it's like it's a very historical city and many many people want to lay claim to it.
mhm.
So I don't know. I don't understand why. Like there's just I feel like there's just so much hate surrounding like this person did this to my family because of this conflict. Like
Mhm.
that's going to be really hard to overcome. I think to try and bring peace to that area. But what do I know? I'm some kid that grew up in the Midwest, so
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how everything shakes out, but I can't see of a way where it gets more violent without, because all of the discussion to this point, any time that the that Jewish people had any reign over anything, it would get attacked. Or anytime that a lot of these, some of them are terrorist groups, uh, would lose some form of power, they would just kind of throw a tantrum and attack people. Like
Correct.
they would threaten violence to get their way, and that's just kind of how the entire bill came to pass anyway. So it's it's interesting to me. I think that it's a nice way to at least start the healing process, where you kind of get to a new low before you can raise up into a peaceful discussion.
Hmm.
Once this is off the table, I think that you won't have this thing to bitch about anymore. So I think it'll be easier to come together, at least, hopefully.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, like you see people or Palestinians carrying coffins with Trump's face placated on them and burning American
Right.
flags, and it's just like, whoa, holy shit.
I mean, it's always darkest before day, right? I think
Oh
the
yeah,
dark
no,
knight taught me that.
yeah,
So
that's why I said it. It will probably get like more violent, like
right.
when they're trying to bring change to something that has been like the same and a constant. It's been like probably a constant level. I would say of violence. Like there's not. I think there's probably one threshold below and then a threshold above, and it hasn't gone like above or below those 2 points, and it's just been
Yeah.
constantly like a wave form.
So hopefully it goes like, if you're saying like violent, not violent,
Yeah,
hopefully it goes like this and then just dies, because you're losing
correct,
a main stamping point of the whole debate anyway. So
correct.
I think it's a smart move in the long term. I hope that the short term doesn't hold too much tragedy, but
Yeah.
we'll
So
have to we'll have to see, I guess.
good vibes going out to all those people that are just trying to live their life out there,
Hmm.
and they're caught in the back or in the crossfire of that. So,
Hmm.
in other light news, Ryan Reynolds was announced that he would star in a Pokemon movie, and low key, I'm excited. Like, what can Ryan Reynolds not do? He's been in romantic comedies, he's Deadpool, and now he's gonna voice act as I think in a story that is going to involve Detective Pikachu, who's going to be like a self-styled investigator. I don't really know how well the movie's going to do, but I'm still probably going to watch it. Okay, let's
Ryan
be real.
Reynolds will be good.
Oh,
That's
of
that's
course,
something
his
you can
character's going to
guarantee.
be fantastic.
Funny,
I just
just because
thought
they're
that was what.
Ryan Reynolds, just Ryan Reynolds.
Dude, he's one interesting man, dude.
Hmm.
I am excited. Like every movie that I watch of him, besides the X-Men movie with the shitty Deadpool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that one was kind of weird.
But they even
Um,
shit on that in the new Deadpool.
See
Like
that? Yeah, I
that
love
was
that.
great.
I love. Yeah, the way they're taking that Deadpool thing is fantastic.
Hmm.
But yeah, I just thought that was very interesting. Link of that story will be in the description. Another link of a story that will be in the description is Time Magazine naming all the women and men who have spoken out against sexual abuse and harassment. They just decided to, all the people that do that, you guys are the person of the year, all
Hmm.
collectively, and I think that's a really, it's a big thing to say, and a good recognition from one of the biggest magazines to ever sell across a global market.
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
Uh, in less than fun news, adult movie star August Ames committed suicide in the wake of a cyber harassment campaign against her when she
yeah,
refused to shoot a new film because the male counterpart had previously been in gay porn. Uh, so her claim was that gay porn actors do not have to go through the same testing as other industry as other porn industry actors would have to, or actresses.
yeah,
And she was scared of what he would have done in his free time, because you know you don't really need to wear a condom when pregnancy isn't an issue.
yeah, yeah,
So she didn't want to mess with it, and it was her body, so she decided to not.
yeah,
And people called her a homophobe and a gay basher, and that she hated all gay people. And somebody said that they were hoping that she'd take some cyanide, and now she's dead by hanging.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so it's a story saying, in the wake of the Me Too movement, a woman's not allowed to decide what's put in her body for fear of being marked as a homophobe. It's just kind of a reminder that there are still some monsters out there who will prey on you for your decisions. So make sure that when you make a choice and say something that you stand behind it, because you're going to get shit on if it gets to the public light. So
I agree. And yeah, it's like you see several people. Like I saw in the Twitter comments and looked it up a little, some little background knowledge. They do not do the same testing standards as
you
other...
did some research.
Yeah, some hardcore research. If you get where I'm going.
I think I don't.
But no, you look up some stats and like some of the industry film companies, they don't require them to be tested, and it's a scary world out there. And they will, like, if you're tested for HIV, they do several tests just to make sure, so it's not like a false positive or anything.
Right.
And I think she had every right to say, like, yeah, I'm not. Just no. I also heard a rumor though, way back when, that it's easier for men to get into, like, the normal porn industry if they do gay porn first, and then they...
Interesting.
Yeah, but I don't know if that stat still holds up because it's 2017, and I heard that stat a long time ago. But
I don't know.
So yeah, and it's shitty that she got all the hate that she got. I just find it funny that it's 2017 and people talk about accepting other people and do what you want with your body. Except when you decide to, bash, the gay community. Oh yeah. And her tweet.
Not even bash. Except when you refuse the
D.
bisexual man's touch.
Well, I think, and Philip DeFranco touched on this. I think he said she could have worded her tweets differently.
Sure.
That is not an excuse for you to go out and throw death threats out at people. That's not what I'm saying. But yeah, that's still shitty that a person had to take her own life because of bullying. So
I feel like we've lost a good "go fuck yourself" joke somewhere along the lines of this story.
Definitely, and we are
if
all.
Only she would have just gone fuck herself.
If only we had if only we were thinking of the in poor taste jokes like we were last week. Exactly. So in other shitty what?
Like the one I just told. In any case,
in other shitty news, if you have not been keeping up like with social media, the news, California is kind of in a very bad place right now. It's on fire. It's burning. People are dying. Businesses are being lost. Homes are being destroyed. Wildlife is running for their wild lives because there's several wildfires going on in the Santa Barbara, San Diego areas, and over 116,000 acres are being burned. You see, there's a big popular video of people driving by this popular highway, and they roll down the window, and you can hear them in the video. Like, can you feel that heat? Like, and the hill is at least several hundred yards away, but it's all engrossed in flame. And they actually had to close that highway because of all the smoke and everything. So if you're in California and you're in that area that's being affected by wildfires, get the fuck out right now. Go to Vegas, go to Washington, go somewhere that's not being affected by fires. And if you do want to donate, by the way, we'll be putting a link with it has a page that you can donate to the Salvation Army, American Red Cross. You can choose if you have any money to throw that way for victims that are being home stricken from this shitty fire.
Yeah.
What's up?
And I have two things to say. The first one will be less funny. I work at a job where I take calls from across the country for people who try to form businesses and have like questions regarding that. And somebody that I received a call from today, her house was on fire while she was calling me to let us know that she's going to have to call us back later about, paying some sort of thing to the state.
Holy shit.
And she's like, yeah, my house is currently on fire. It was missed by the first set of fires, but the second set of fire came in, and now I believe my house is on fire. And so I'm waiting to hear confirmation. I hope it's not, but I guess we'll see what happens. And she was so upbeat about it, and she was so nice, and I was so heartbroken. And at the end of the call, I always say, like, thank you for calling, have a wonderful day, just because, it helps people, feel happy at the end of it. And when I said, have a wonderful day, I then said, at least to the best of your ability. And she just started laughing. So I was like, all right, that at least. Notice how somebody smiled and the way
What
horribleness.
what a champ. That is
I know,
awesome.
right? And second thing is, if you haven't seen the picture, it's goddamn Mordor. Like, this is Lord of the Rings. If you have a big old golden ring, toss that shit in there, because we really need to stop this quick.
Yeah, I mean, California has been in droughts for years now. They've been saying like, "Yo, we need some water, like fast." Now you really need a lot of water, like fast.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know what the fuck could happen. But good thoughts and vibes going out to all those people in Southern California and the affected fires. Oh man, we'd like to thank JCPenney for sponsoring this week's episode of Insert Slogan here. Now that Black Friday is over, you can focus on the most important holiday of the year, Valentine's Day. There's some other days in between there too, but if you use 1337-ish, that's 1337, capital I, capital S, capital H, at checkout, either in-store or online, you'll get 1% of a penny towards your 401k. JCPenney, better than Kohl's.
Elite-ish. I like it.
Thanks, man. So, yeah, what's up, man?
When was the last time you cried? These are some invading questions this week.
Yeah, I like these questions. Fuck, when was the last time I cried? And this is gonna get deep, and this is gonna get personal real quick. I mean, they are invading questions for a reason. It was the day before I graduated college, so last May.
Okay.
And I was hanging out with my buddy and my lady friend, and I get a text message from one of my friends that's still very good friends with one of my ex-girlfriends, and he wanted to tell me that she wanted to congratulate me on graduating tomorrow, and you know, I'm still at that point. You know, maybe it might be different for everybody, but like once like that relationship is still significant to me, and I'm still working on, you know, confronting those feelings and everything, and I'm not going to go into the relationship and how it ended and all that stuff because that's personal. But it just rocked me. Like I wasn't expecting to get a text like that, and it just caught me out of the blue, and my mood just like down spiraled. And after my friend left, my lady friend was like, "Do you want to talk about it?" Because she noticed that I was super agitated and just feeling shitty. And I just talked to her for like 40 minutes to an hour, and you know, I got teared up and cried because I just didn't know how to handle myself, and it still affects me to this day. And what?
Dude, I can't imagine you crying. It makes me sad. So when I get sad, I have to just start laughing, or else I'm gonna cry like a pussy bitch. I know, pussy bitch.
And the cry wasn't like a, "Oh, my life is." It wasn't a sob. It was just like it was just like gentle tears and like.
It was a single tear, even.
One tear was shed. No, it was actually multiple tears. I think that was probably the last time I cried. Yeah, I could name other times that I cried, but I don't want to.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Mine's a little bit weirder than that, actually, because yours actually has like a reason to it. So like, I don't know what the fuck I've been watching on YouTube recently, but I think it was like last week.
Yeah.
I got a video called "The Saddest Moments in Sports."
Oh God.
In the past year. So the one that got me. So there was a Marlins pitcher who passed away during the course. I can't remember if it was last season or like this current season.
Yeah.
And he passed away during the middle of the year, but they
Yeah.
had to keep playing the games. And the so for the next game, they all wore jerseys that had his number on it and had his last name on the back of it. And the leadoff hitter hit a home run to start the game, and he was crying the entire way around the bases, and I just lost my fucking shit because I just couldn't handle it. Like it's just such a great story and like that. And then, you know, the entire point of the video is to make you fucking sad.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Like it served its purpose. But there were just a bunch of memories like that where it's like you just see a bunch of people like, you know, in the wake of just tragedy.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to like. There's just a lot of things that like, you know, a lot of emotions can get brought up that way.
Oh, hands down.
So yeah, it's some great time. If you need a good cry, just type it in into YouTube, like "help me cry," and they'll just find something for you.
Is that what you did?
No, I didn't. It was one of my suggested videos. I don't know what the fuck I'd been watching.
Oh my God.
Like,
dude,
just like, hey, you want to cry?
Wait, that was YouTube that suggested it?
Yeah, YouTube suggested it.
Oh my God.
Recommended for you. Saddest moments of the past year.
Holy shit, dude. That's got me tearing up a little bit, actually. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of shit. It's like, wow,
There's some sad movies out there too. Like Marley and Me is super sad.
dude. Inside Out. I think I cried twice almost
I
during that movie.
I definitely teared up at that
Like,
movie.
fuck. I
That's
am a
that's
pussy bitch, but
shut up,
like,
dude. That's a quality movie. I don't know what you're
oh,
talking
I
about.
know, but like crying in general just makes me a little pussy, and I'm not a pussy.
Oh, you're fine, dude. Shed some tears. Be a little bitch about
Yeah,
it.
I cry more often than I probably should. But
Logan, tell me why people are probably currently triggered, or why you're currently triggered.
fucking Canada. No, okay. So Lindsay Shepard is a TA at Laurier University in Canada, and she showed a video to one of her classes containing a debate between Jordan Peterson and I can't remember the name of the transgender scholar that works at the same university as Jordan Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
One of the students got offended, and the university called her in and had a meeting between her and like one of the like ethics committees, and they're taking up issue against her because she brought up hostile ideas in class.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
didn't promote the ideas, she just put them in at even footing. I lost my mind because I watched some of the actual conversation that she had because she
Yep.
recorded it
Yep, same. Yeah.
on her laptop. I was losing my goddamn mind because this professor was saying it's not enough that you were just neutral about it because you shouldn't even allow these opinions to exist. Practically, is what he said. I was like, wow, you should not be allowed to
Be in a university.
You know, I'm not even gonna say it because I was watching fuck, what's his name? Oh my god, I gotta find this video. I was watching one of the commentators because I saw the Steven Crowder interview with it and Dave Rubin. So I was watching the Dave Rubin before it,
Okay,
and
okay.
he said that this person does not deserve to be on college campuses, let alone be a professor. So, yeah, Dave Rubin, I very much respect that man, and I agree with him 100% here.
Yeah,
Like the people going against her are completely out of their mind to
a
think
little
that you're
bit.
not allowed to have debate on college campuses. Are you kidding me? That's where debate's supposed to happen.
Uh-huh.
But that's why I'm triggered. It's just like whenever I see shit like this, it's like you wonder why Trump won because you're not even willing to listen to the other side. Like you lose the moderate when you just push everyone out who thinks that there should be a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how Trump becomes president.
No, those were the most true words that have ever been spoken on this podcast. Like,
Yeah.
how is society supposed to move forward if we cannot discuss controversial and serious issues as civilized human beings across the table from one another or across from video, blah blah blah, you know?
Right.
So
It
yeah.
seems like a no-brainer too. Like listen to the other person talk and then debate them with your points. If your argument is strong, they don't really stand a chance.
Mm-hmm.
But if your argument is you're a piece of shit human being, then maybe, just maybe, you're on the wrong side.
I mean, you can still be a shit human being and argue good points. Let's not
Right.
confuse the topics here.
Sure. But like if your argument is weak, that's when you just start attacking the other person.
I know. I was, yeah.
You're right though. I've heard shitty things said. I've heard great things said by shitty people. And it makes sense and I don't like it. Like,
That's
wow,
when you want to
even
take
us
back.
trying to-
That's when you want to take back your point. Like, you know what? No, fuck civil discussion. Let's
No,
go
not
throw this
even-
guy off a balcony.
No, not that. Just like, now I have to work harder to find a way to refute that because that's a really good point, and I fucking hate you. You know, like, those types of things. Not like,
Yeah. The link that's going to be in the description. You can definitely. I think her post actually, like she wrote this post, and then the audio is actually pretty damn decent. So you can hear everyone in the fucking room talk about it. And I kind of had to reread it, like, you know, a few times just to make sure that I was picking up and reading what they were putting down. And it kind of hurt my feelings because I was like, what?
it just hurts my brain to listen to some of the points that they try to make to this young woman who's just trying to get her master's. Like it is.
And her
Mine.
her degrees in communication and political science. So
Right.
she
Right up her
goes
alley.
on to say in the article like, you should be able to think critically in all of the programs that are at college campuses, and the fact that they kind of had the gall to target her. I mean, I shouldn't say target, but bring up the point like you shouldn't really be talking about this. Just bring it up. Like you don't have to have like hardcore discussions about it. Just bring it up and
Right.
make both sides known, and then let the student or students either debate or talk about it outside of class, or you know what,
Or even just think about it on their own terms. Even just let
Exactly.
them reflect on it. That's that's as easy as it gets.
Like
Like,
without college, I would not have known about pyramid schemes. I would be so naive to the shit that pyramid schemes are. We should have a pyramid scheme discussion. No lie, not now, but
all right,
some other episode.
throw it in next week, Sam. We'll talk
Oh
about
my
pyramid schemes and be able
god,
to
it wouldn't be a great
well,
conversation because it'd be one sided. Because I think Logan and I are
oh,
both
I think some of the greatest conversations can be one sided.
okay.
If two people shit on the same thing with equal force, I feel like you can get some good conversations out of that.
With solid facts, not just straight up. You know what? I don't like the pyramid scheme because this guy took all my money. That's just not.
Mhm.
That's just. I mean, it's see. That's funny because that's kind of true, but not really. Like, you get where I'm going. That's like a hard.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Anywho, that's besides the point.
Mhm.
So yeah, if you are in college and you're listening to this, you should be open to having discussions about different people's opinions and topics, and uh, opening up the possibilities that you might be wrong or there
Right.
might be some sort of answer to your wrong question. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I would solidify that also, Sam, by saying that there is someone smarter than you that disagrees with you at all times of your life.
No, that's true.
That's one way to think about it. So you just have to work on getting yourself better to beat the person who's smarter than you. And then by the time you beat that person, the
Mm-hmm.
next person who's smarter than you comes to the table. So it'll be uh, there's always someone better than you. So work to make yourself better than them every day. There you go.
Yes,
That's simple.
and talking about more controversial shit. We just keep talking about sexual and domestic abuse, and we talk about the important things in life here. Logan, tell me about this new game that's coming out called Detroit Become Human.
So Detroit Become Human is from the company Quantic Dream. It's the studio that created Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. If you haven't heard of Beyond Two Souls, I know a lot of people heard of Heavy Rain,
Mm-hmm.
but Beyond Two Souls is the one that actually had Ellen Page, like voice acting for it.
Yep.
I think that there was like a controversy because in The Last of Us, it's a character that reminds you a lot of Ellen Page, but like this one's actually Ellen Page. Anyway, uh, it's getting shit on because it's getting shit on by the news at least. It's like a choose your own adventure type of game, like Heavy Rain or The Walking Dead, where you like make decisions and those actions have consequences.
Mm-hmm.
At one point of the trailer of the game that they put out, you're playing as an android. I think that's the whole point of the character is like you're like a robot, uh, and your master goes upstairs with the intent of beating his daughter.
Yeah.
And if you don't intervene, she dies. And then in the trailer, it replays and shows you intervening by killing the dad. So it shows that the game has consequences for your actions, and everybody just loses their goddamn mind by saying that video games are not an art form that should have violence in them because it leaves too big of an impression on children, and
Yeah.
violence should be kept out of the arts and stuff. And I was just thinking to myself, like, yeah, because there's never been a movie, not even in the past like year, where a woman and her daughter were being abused and held in a shelter against their will. Oh wait, that movie does exist. Like, there's just ridiculous things. Like, yeah, it happens in movies, it happens in TV shows all the time. That like domestic abuse should be brought up, and especially in a system like a video game where you get to stop it. Like that is a way. Like, that's a point I think Philip DeFranco makes. You have an active ability to stop it from happening.
Yep.
Why not teach kids to at least do that? Like to try that.
Yep.
It just seems weird.
I bet this game is going to be rated, M though, because
Oh,
Heavy
it better
Rain
be.
is like rated M. I don't know Beyond Two Souls is or not.
Heavy Rain deserves to be rated M. That's
Oh
about like serial killers and your child dies and
yeah,
spoiler.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Heavy Rain is a very emotional roller coaster.
Sean,
Um,
Sean, Sean.
Stop. But I was reading about it, and yeah, I think it's important that people be exposed to this because like this shit happens in real
Mhm.
life to real people. It's not in
Mhm.
a video game, and censoring or trying to censor a version that is so interactive and has the ability to teach people, not just kids, but people, to identify possible signs and like speak up and do something when even if you don't like if you don't intervene right away, like at least calling the cops or calling help or like other people to make sure that you're not the only witness or something, I think is a great lesson to teach everyone.
Mhm.
So yeah, their reasoning is just kind of shit, and could do more harm than good in my opinion.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
what else do you think about this, Sam? Do you think? Do you have anything else, or do you want to move on?
I really need to play Heavy Rain. That's what I need to do. And beyond, I've watched gameplay of Beyond Two Souls, so yeah, I don't really have much else. It's kind of a silly statement from the media, to be honest.
Right.
Like we have all this shit on what's it called, like Title IX and like sexual harassment training and all this stuff, but like you want to censor a domestic abuse scene from a video game?
Right, like, oh, sorry, you've never watched CSI or
Yep.
anything like that. There's none of those exist. There's no domestic abuse in any shows ever.
Oh,
There's
ever.
no domestic abuse talked about in the news ever. It's not
Oh,
like you ever
never.
report on it and show actual people doing actual things to other actual people. Oh wait, all those things exist? Like, just ridiculous.
Yeah, so I think there's really nothing more to
Clickbait
say.
as fuck.
It's pretty silly.
Yeah.
And I think, is there a link? There will be a link for this story if you want to read about it from different points of view. But so yeah, on a lighter note with video games, the big famous Nadeshot, who is now the owner of his own, esports organization, was once playing Call of Duty for Optic Gaming. He played League of Legends for the first time because.
Okay.
We talked about League of Legends now being franchised, and Nadeshot is the owner of one of those League of Legends franchise teams called 100 Thieves. And one of the abilities in League of Legends is bound to D. And his chat, he was live streaming him playing this video game. His chat was telling him to push D because they told him that his character would dance. Now, in League of Legends, there's two buttons that are called summoner spells, and they're kind of they have their abilities that have heavy cooldowns. Logan, do you want to explain it a little better than I?
Sure. So each character has 4 abilities that are unique to them on the Q, W, E, and R keys. But on the D and F keys, there are 2 summoner spells that you can choose from like a pool. One of them like teleports you a small distance. One of them teleports you a long distance. One of them heals you. One of them, gives you a shield, things of that nature. But they're very long cooldown, and any character can use any of them. Now, they're bound to your D and F key, and on different keys, there's a certain key combination you can press to allow your character to dance. And each character has their own specific dance, and it's, just a fun way to discover more about the characters, whatever. So it's a common joke that you say to noobs to press D to dance so that they blow one of their summoner spells early on in the game so that they don't have it for the first time that you see them. And,
Yep.
Apparently, Nadeshot got baited pretty hard.
He got so baited. I'm gonna link his status that he made on Twitter. It's one of the best things I think I've ever read from a pro gamer, and he's like, basically, don't give in to peer pressure, because his chat, like Nadeshot is one of those, he's one of the big iconic figures in gaming. So he probably gets 30 to 40, maybe 50K average viewers, whatever game he plays. So to have your whole chat tell you press D to dance, I think that would be pretty fucking hard to not push D. Right. Like, he learned a great lesson, hands down. Like, it's fucking great. It's hilarious. Oh man. So I just thought that was some light-hearted banter.
Dungy and Rodney Harrison break down the first half. Look ahead to the.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, you okay? The video game awards are streaming live right now on Twitch.
222,000 people are watching right now. Sorry, I just wanted to note that Thursday Night Football, you can watch that on Twitch. Like, I'm watching the New Orleans and Atlanta game right now. Because I was gonna bring up the link for the Game Awards, but
interesting.
Holy shit!
I love the NFL.
That's fucking awesome.
Smart. It's ahead of the game.
Yeah. It says, yes, really, cheer, cringe, and laugh along with Twitch chat as the New Orleans Saints take on the Atlanta Falcons in Thursday Night Football. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Kickoff at 8:25. That's
if
fucking.
You thought it was cancer to like. Oh god, dude. But think about that. If you thought it was cancer to like watch video games with Twitch chat, it's gotta be fucking cancer to watch them commentate on sports.
Oh my god, dude! No, this is fucking great. You know what? Like that, I think this is a really big step for Twitch, and Twitch has a parent company called Amazon, so they're making gains in that kind of field. So that's fucking awesome for them. I'm happy to see that. But the Game Awards. Oh shit! What did I click on? Oh god. Okay, it's fine. But yeah, so the Game Awards are going on right now, and if you want to rewatch that VOD, I would highly recommend it. 222,000 people are watching it live. You could be watching it too, but you're listening to this podcast. Suck it. So
Thank you.
Logan, what's our other sponsor today?
Oh, this is awkward. This week's episode of the Insert Slogan Here podcast is brought to you by Kohl's. The more you know, the more you Kohl's. That is their real slogan. But I have a better one for this read. Kohl's, JCPenney can suck our dicks. Please be sure to use coupon code ISH at checkout for weird looks from the cashier.
God damn it.
I know. I can't believe you got competing brands on the same episode. It's like, what?
I mean, that's fine. It's better for business. And just so our JCPenney and Kohl's reps know, we'll be sending you guys emails tomorrow in the morning. God damn it. Logan, what is your favorite music to listen to right now?
Music to listen to? Like
Yeah.
artist or like music?
Music. You can name several artists if you want.
Sure. I would say not Christmas music, just because I've been hearing it for the past like month. But like, I really do love me some Michael Bublé and Pentatonics at this time of year. It's,
Okay.
So I mean, I love that. I can avoid a lot of the other Christmas albums out there, and just stick with those two singularly. I actually have those physical copies of their albums, so that's when you know it's real. So.
Dude, yeah, I love buying physical copies of music. I don't know what it is, but I like having it as like an actual CD. So maybe I'll actually play something in my car. Instead of like, Bluetooth or listening to the shit radio. I guess my favorite music to listen to right now is anything that's kind of electronic but not fully. I don't mind the indie stuff, and anything that has really good emotional melodies and harmonies that just like pluck at your heartstrings and make you think about life. That is my shit right now.
Until you said that thing about plucking your heartstrings, I would suggest the artist Pogo.
Pogo.
He has some pretty cool things out there. He does a lot of the music fills for the Louder with Crowder podcast.
Okay.
Actually, I think he does all of them. Now that I think about it, but a lot of them sound really good, and I have some of them stuck in my head even right now. So I suggest.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay.
Pretty good stuff out there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a quick show, man.
It has been a quick show.
We're gonna introduce the mailbag. That won't be too bad though, considering that last week's show was an hour and a half. But
that's fine.
We'll introduce the mailbag once again. There are no rules for the questions, so it's our take on the mailbag. Please, if you have questions for Sam, email me at pathosquestions@yahoo.com. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to email Sam at pathos.biz@yahoo.com. We'll make sure to have a description and the links for our emails down below. If you have any suggestions for invading questions that you'd like to know, if you have anything you'd like to ask us, feel free to let us know. The fun part about this is we get to choose what the other person hears. So the dirtier, the better. Make sure that you make us crack under the pressure of having to answer some questions on the spot. It's like an AMA, but you never know what's coming next. So
the more obnoxious and outlandish, the better. 10 out of 10. Just want to give.
You can get YouTube almost.
I just want to give a quick shout out to our dude Knight. He asks, "How are you guys doing?" That was really early in the show, but I think we're doing well. Logan, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, dude, yeah. I'm doing really well. I had a really good day today. A fantastic day. There was nothing super spectacular that happened at work or like in my life besides this show. but it was just a good day. Like solid. It was a solid day.
It was nice.
Exactly. So this is the portion of the show where we talk about real-ish and the real topics that aren't so real, but more of like our opinions and motivational stuff. So I'm going to talk about sleep. And it's a thing all humans do, to rest after a day is done, or maybe to nap or something because you're tired. Some sleep for longer average periods of time. Others sleep for very few hours. Or what Google says as a natural recurring state of mind and body. characterized by altered consciousness, relatively inhibited sensory activity. God, that's a hard word to read. Inhibition of nearly all voluntary muscles and reduced interactions with surroundings. Great, Sam. We know this. So what? Well, like, do you have days where you think, if I had a few more hours of sleep, I'd feel better? Honestly, when you're younger, you don't have to worry about that too much. I mean, you still need some sleep to function, to go to school and all that stuff. But I found that the amount of sleep I get each night affects my mood and workability next day. Like this past week, I went to bed later and later in the night, and eventually until I was running on like 6 hours of sleep for like a couple days. Not like straight, but I would get 6 hours of sleep on average. And I almost fell asleep at my desk. It was not good. And I sit at my desk like 65 to 75% of the workday. But sleepassociation.org reports that 37% of 20 to 39-year-olds suffer from short sleep duration. Granted, I don't know what that range admits to being short sleep, but still, you get my point. Last night, I got 7 hours of sleep, and I noticed a difference. I was more productive, my mood increased, my ability to identify problems and solve them efficiently increased, and I just had a better day when I got my normal hours of sleep. Now, this isn't the case for everyone, but for me, sleep is necessary for me to function and not overthink everything and so on. So, figure out what you need to make your day better, and don't neglect it. So, if you need to eat pineapples every day, eat pineapples. If you need to go to the gym every day, go to the gym for an hour. Hopefully, you'll see improvements in your social life, your work habits, and your personal goals, and the list can go on. Sleep is bae forever. Logan, it's your go.
Just before that, I also like to mention that sleep does affect your sex drive. Fun fact: I can't remember who put out the study, but there's actually a study put out that if you don't get enough sleep, it affects your libido. So it's weird. I don't know why YouTube suggested that video as well, but there's a bunch of weird ass facts like that, and it was just right in the middle of it. So there's another thing to bring up. And another side note: Ryland Ward was his family was I think it was his mom and his sisters were killed in the Sutherland Springs church shooting.
Yep.
And there's now there's a tweet that was put out that said send Christmas cards to not just him but other victims of the tragedy. Do your thing, Twitter, and it got spread all over the place. So we'll make sure to pop that through as well. But now into the other fun. This week, there was another piece of news actually came to the forefront, but may have been missed by some people. Do you remember that baker that didn't make a cake for a gay wedding like 5 years ago? Well, over the past 5 years, that man, Jack Phillips, has been part of a legal battle that has taken him up to the Supreme Court. The case was opened this week at the Supreme Court. Let me make one thing very clear. Jack Phillips has every right to refuse to serve any wedding he would like. The beauty of capitalism is that he is punished by losing business. However, the situation is not about cake anymore. It's now a battle for the First Amendment. America is great because of the First Amendment. For those of you who don't know, the First Amendment allows for the freedoms of speech, religion, press, petition, and assembly. Outside of speech that is a call to violence, there is no limit to free speech in this country. It is for that reason that I can speak comfortably about the topics we discuss here. I know that the Constitution has my back, and now it's time where the feeling needs to be reciprocated. The issues at play here stem from one man's ability to say no. Whether it be to a gay couple, divorce party, or a Halloween enthusiast, Jack Phillips would say no to all of these, by the way. Nobody is in a special class above everybody else. Do you get to have special treatment because you're a gay man? Who died and made you queen? Oh, right. All jokes aside, we're supposed to believe that all people are created equal. So why should one man's ability and rights be impinged because of a religious view? I know what you're thinking. Logan, what about the gay couple? Aren't they allowed their rights? Of course they are. They have the right to be gay. They have the right to express themselves in public through a wedding ceremony. They have the right to take their money into any establishment and show support. However, they do not have the right to force a man to make something against his will. That is thuggery. And keep in mind that if this law changes and is enforced by the police, people will be compelled to fulfill requests practically at gunpoint. At the end of the day, The unique existence of free speech in America is why it is a great country. There are many countries that claim to have free speech. Canada. But when push comes to shove, dissenting speech is punished. We saw that with Lindsay Shepherd. Now, we must hope that the Supreme Court justices understand exactly what they're taking up with this case. America can be made unrecognizable by moving us away from this free speech bedrock that got us where we are. However, it can also cement the fact that free speech is here to stay. I hope for the latter. And if the decision is in my favor, it may even be important enough to throw a party afterwards. Anybody know where I can get a good cake? Thanks for listening, everybody. It's been great, and have a wonderful day.
That was episode 12 of Insta Slogan here. See you next week.
Peace.